Dominic, let's talk about populations on the move. Kate actually referred to this in our last conversation. So at the end of 2019, just before the pandemic, there were nearly 80 million displaced people worldwide, 26 million of whom were refugees. And when it comes to the connectivity issue we are discussing, what was the specific situation for refugees prior to the pandemic?
The situation for refugees prior to the pandemic was already dire, and the pandemic has only exacerbated. Unfortunately, the pandemic hasn't stopped conflict, hasn't stopped wars, hasn't stopped persecution. So the people that are refugees and displaced that you mentioned continue to be the ones that are suffering the most. And if we're looking right now at the impact of COVID-19 on those displaced, it's exacerbated by the fact that they don't have access to the digital economy, which was key before COVID and is even more so now. It's basically a lifeline for them. And so what we're seeing now is an exclusion from the digital economy and the impact that's having, and we've heard it from the other panelists before me, is the impact on schooling, on education, on healthcare, on lack of access to the work or job markets, and that's also impacting refugees and those displaced. And if you look at access to information, these are all essential services for refugees. And as the pandemic hits, their access becomes even more limited and more damaging to them. The inequalities in access to technology and connectivity are just exacerbated. I think one of the things that we've been hearing, that we know from UN Women, for example, is that even before the pandemic, in low and middle income countries, men had 1.4 more chances of having access to a mobile phone, mobile device, than women. So what have we been doing as UNHCR? We've been looking at digital literacy for girls and women, in terms of access, in terms of knowledge, in terms of training, but even simply the confidence of actually using these tools when they're actually getting them. And just a few examples in Mauritania. We've strengthened the digital skills and trained refugee women and youth to lead ICT or technology workshops to drive change in the community. In Mauritania, where the refugees are in some of the most far-flung places, with Malian refugees going into Mauritania. I mean, you're talking the access to the internet and digital access is just it's what actually saves them in many cases. In Malawi, there's a refugee camp which is mostly Burundians, and a Burundian refugee came up and decided to create a coding school. So also refugees can be people that find solutions. And so he created this coding school to build the tech skills for refugees and the host communities. And so with Microsoft for Africa, we worked together to actually get them access to Wi-Fi with the support of the local internet provider, as well as 1,000 smartphones, about 10 tablets, 40 laptops. It maybe doesn't seem like much, but this changes people's lives. It helped students have hope, reach their full potential. And these are just two examples, but so much more can be done if we work in partnership and have key alliances with partners like the ones on the panel today and beyond.